Hello, guys. Good evening. So we'll start the session in a while. We'll wait for 2-3 minutes and then we'll start the session. Okay. Till that time, let me set up my VS Code. How are you guys doing? Hello, everyone. So we'll start the session now. I hope my voice is audible. And so today we'll be talking about CSS. Okay, so yesterday we discussed basics of CSS. Okay, uh, so yeah, now let me share my screen and let's get started with the stuff that we were talking yesterday. Okay, cool, awesome. So we'll start with I'll start a revision with how to implement CSS, what is CSS, and on what are the ways of implementing CSS on your HTML file. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to understand what is CSS, how we can implement that, what is box model, and what are the selectors. So these four things we discussed in yesterday's session, and now we'll be discussing about what are the different properties of CSS and how we can implement that. And today at the end of the session we'll be creating a simple portfolio website, so that you can use it later on as your portfolio website by changing some colors and stuff like that. Okay, so for that, now let I have to share my screen. Share my screen here. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Just give me thumbs up if you are here. Yes, awesome, cool. So now I'll So this were the things that we discussed yesterday. Box model and selectors we already discussed. Today we'll be discussing about the standard properties that we have and a flex layout also. All right. So if I go to my VS Code, you can see. So we'll start with implementing CSS. There are three ways in which we can implement CSS. First is with the help of CSS element. So here you can see this is the CSS element. This is the first way we can implement CSS. Second is by implementing styles. Like you can write CSS here. You can write color. Uh, color is red. And if I go live here, it will open. Okay, this is not okay. It opened here for me, but okay, the background color is already red. So rather than that, what I would do is I will open this here. Okay, yeah, and I'll put the background color as, let's say, white. Let me format my screens. Okay, now if I do this, all right. So now if so the second way is, let me make it white. So the second way is to implement inline CSS. So we can add style as an attribute of an element. As you can see here, I've added that as an attribute. So this is the second way. And third way is to implement style via style sheet. Okay. So if you have a whole bunch of CSS and a very large file of CSS, I would recommend you to use this this way of adding a style sheet, a separate style sheet which is just for styles. So it is easy to manage for you. And also the HTML file won't look good if you add all the CSS in the style element. So it is recommended to use a style CSS file if you have a huge line of codes in CSS. Okay. So yesterday we discussed about box model. Okay, so I'll come back to the box model today again. So these were the three ways. Coming back to the box model, what we discussed in box model, right? Let's quickly revise. So this is the dev tool I discussed yesterday. You can open dev tool by clicking right here and then click on inspect, and then you'll be able to open the developer tools here. Then you have to scroll down here. You have to select an element, and then you can see the box model for that element. Let me zoom in a little bit. So if you see here, uh, at center is the content. Second, 12 pixels is the padding. Then there are 2 pixels, that is the border, the width of the border. And then there are 20 pixels, which is the margin. Okay, so what I told yesterday, content, padding, border, and margin. What is padding? Everything inside the border is the spacing inside the border that you give between border. The spacing between border and content is the padding, and the spacing between the outer layer and the border is margin. Right? You can see 20 pixels is the margin, because if you see the code here, we have added margin as 20 pixels, padding as 12, and border as this, right? All right. So also we discussed about selectors. So there are three type of selectors majorly. First is class, second is ID, and third is by selecting by element. Okay. So when you want to select by element, what you do is just type div and then just give something. So let's say, let me give uh, what can I give? Let me remove this inline CSS here, and let me give color of green. So if I press save, you can see that You can see that the color of all the content inside the box is green because I have selected all green things here, and all content in green, all content in the div is green now. Okay, because I've selected all divs. And if you don't want to select all, we use classes. We use classes to select a particular element of an HTML. Okay, so if you see, there is a class div, there is a class div1. Okay, so what do you mean, like why are we adding two classes? Classes are super useful when you have a bunch of styling that you want to put in common. Okay, so if you have something in common and something in difference, then you can use classes. Okay, yeah, so here as you can see here, that there is a common styling that I'm using, that is, let me delete this, border radius, sorry, the border of 2 pixel, I want that in all the boxes. As you can see, I haven't added div in class, like I haven't added this div class over here. If we add that div class over here, you'll see that the border, padding and margin, which is common for all three divs, will be added here, right? So if you have some styles in common, you can use classes for that. And whatever different property you want to add, you can add a div, a class, another class in that particular class attribute, and you can put it like this. So I have div1 class, you can see I'm adding a different property to that, right? I'm adding a different background color. So if let's say I want to add here div3, I want to add some different property to div3. What I want to add, let me add background color of, it's light green, light blue. You can see I've added a different background color, which is not common in all three, because that's what I want unique in that particular element. That's why I've added that in that way. All right, this we already have discussed yesterday. And then there are ID selectors. Okay, so what are ID selectors? So ID selectors are unique to each element. We cannot use more than one IDs in one particular element. Like not similar to classes, so we can have multiple classes in a class attribute of an element, but we can't do the same when it comes to IDs. What I mean is, how ID attribute looks. If you see, I have to if I want to choose ID, I have to write ID and then sorry, the inverted commas. So if I have something in unique again, so IDs are unique to specific elements. Again, if you want something unique which is not there anywhere in your class list, you can use IDs. So if, let's say, what should I put now? Let me add uh let's say font size, or say font weight, font. Let me add the name like uh ID select. Okay, so this for ID select, for ID, let's say ID 7. Okay, ID 1. Okay, this is a ID 1. So if I want to select that ID 1, and if I want to write if I want to write a selection based on ID in CSS, what I have to do is I have to use hash. Okay, so if I use hash, and then I have to put ID name, ID1, then I have to write whatever property I want. So suppose I want font weight equals to 800. So what is font weight? It is just a boldness of the text that you're having. So if you see now, if I close this, if you see, ID1 is for division 1, and in division 1 I've added font weight. What is font weight? It's boldness. So if you see, it is more bold as compared to others. So let me name this as model 1, so it will be easy for you to understand. Model 1, model 2, and model 3. And model 3. So this is how we can use IDs. IDs are not generally used by in CSS, We are using IDs to select these elements which we can use in JavaScript. So majorly the use of ID is in JavaScript, but you can use it here as well if we want some unique element which is not there anywhere in the entire HTML document. And if you don't want the clashes of CSS and stuff, you can use ID, because if you want to add a special type of CSS in a pretty huge file of HTML, you can use ID, because ID cannot clash because they are unique to an element. Okay, so there are less chances of clashing of CSS styles when we use IDs. Okay, so if you have something unique to apply, you can use IDs for that. Just a quick revision. If you can see my screen, if you want to select by element, what you have to do, you have to write div, just element name and then curly braces, and you can write your CSS inside that. Second is class selector. For class selector, you have to write dot and then class name. Let's say div1. That's it. And if there are IDs, how can you select by IDs? You just have to put hash and then ID name and then curly braces, and you can write your CSS inside that. These are three major type of selectors. There are other type of selectors that are there. There are, you can select an element with a particular type of attribute. You're not going that deep into that. So just we are just covering basics, so we'll stick with that. You don't have to learn those things until unless you have, mastered your basics of CSS. So you won't be needing those things right now because we have just started. All right. Now, okay, what is next? Let's see in the PPT. Now we have to discuss standard properties. Okay, there border margin padding. Border margin padding we have already discussed. Now what next? Next is outline. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting, I would say pretty interesting CSS property, and which is used interchangeably with border. Okay, so border are different and outline is different. How they are different? I would like to explain you this thing with the help of box model. Okay, so it will be a quick revision for you of box model, and I'll be telling you how border and outline are different. Okay, so if you see, let me copy, let me do one thing. In division 1, in division 2, let me add outline. How we are writing outline, it is like, it is very similar to what the way we write in borders. Okay, let me check if you have any questions. uh okay, what is the question? How can I find past videos day 1 and day 2? Day 1 and day 2 are in the Discord channel. If you see, if you join our Discord channel, you'll be able to understand. Okay, let me close the room. Okay, so if you want, what is class name? Div1 can explain you this one between the normal class and, yeah. So we can add multiple classes in a division. Okay, why we are adding, as I already explained, if there is one class, there is something in common. If we have something in common, we can add those type of stylings in that particular div, and then we can add something unique with the help of other classes. Okay, cool. So now let me explain you about outline. Okay, so how we are writing outline, it is very similar to what we have written in border. So let's say I can write 3 pixel solid, and let's say black, or let's say green. So if you see here, outline is something which is outside of border. Okay, let me explain you with the help of box model. So if you see, if I select this particular box, let me make this smaller. So there is 2 pixel of border, but outline are something which is outside of border. Okay, if I zoom this in, if I can, yeah, if you see here, border is a property of box model, whereas outline is not a property of the box model. Okay, outline is added outside of the border. Okay, we can write, how we can write a property, we can write very similar to what we have in border. We have to decide the length, sorry, the width of the particular border. Then we can add the type of the border we want, and then we can tell them the color of the outline that we want. Okay. Okay, let's discuss now about how many types of border are there. Till now we have used only solid borders. Okay, but there are multiple different types of border that we can use. Okay, if you don't believe, I'll explain you different types of border. Let's say there is a border named dashed. Okay, so if you see, when I used the border type as dashed, I will able to make a dashed border all over the the border section. Then there are groove type of border. Okay, so what it's not visible right now, because for that I have to use some light color, I believe. If I use a light color, and if I increase this to, let's say, 8, yeah, now you can see this is how the groove border looks like. There is something called double groove, I guess. So there is something called double, which will be like double type of borders. Okay, so these are the different types of borders. There are other many type of borders that you can use. You just have to Google around and you'll be able to know that how many types of border are there. All right, so this is how we can put borders and outline. What is the difference? Outline is something that we put outside of the border. Okay, that I already showed. If you want me to show it again, I can put it outline 6 pixel, let's say 6 pixel, uh dashed, and let's say green. So you can see the dashed outline which is outside of the border, and the type is dashed. Okay, this is a kind of pattern also, right? If you see, you can use it to style your website and stuff. Okay, in this way. Awesome. So what's the next property? Padding I have already discussed. Now there is something called border radius. Okay, now what is border radius? I'll remove the outline from here. So I'll put this as solid only. Okay, now what is border radius? As the term itself, it is a self as explanatory thing. What it is, border radius, that is, you have to round your borders in such a way that it should look like a rounded one. Okay, so how we can use that property? That is, you just have to write like border and then radius, and you can just type the pixels that you want. Okay, you can write 2 pixels if you want 2 pixel of border. You can write 20 pixel if you want 20 pixel of border. And if you want this thing as a round circle, you can also add properties in percentage also. This is the second type of unit we are discussing right now. First type that we are using till now is just pixel. Second is you can also use percentage everywhere, wherever there are styling includes. If I put this as 50%, it will put a circle over there. It is not a circle right now because we don't have square. So it is right now, all the borders are having 50% of radius. Okay, if you want to make this circle, you have to put width, some width, let's say 50 pixel, and some height, which should be equal. And now you can see it is a proper circle because I have added equal width and height. Okay, for equal width and height only we can put circles. Okay, now you can see it is entire circle with the border radius of 50%. Okay, this is how you can add border radiuses. Okay, will margin come outside of line? Yeah, okay, nice question, Supreet. So I'll explain you with the help of box model only. Okay. If I put outline, let me remove this as well. Outline. So let's say 5 pixels solid and green. Okay. Now let's open box model. Let's see what can we see. Now if I select this particular element, go below, so there is content, right? Then there is some padding, then there is padding of 12 pixel, then there is border of 8, and then there is margin of this. So yes, margin is whatever outline you put, it is irrespective of that, we can put the margin, like it won't affect the margin. If I put outline as 20 pixel, the margin and the border will be equivalent. Now see, if you see, border width and the margin width are same now. So irrespective of anything, they won't collide. So if it doesn't mean that margin starts from the outline that you put, it will start from border only. So outline is just a styling property that you can use, but it doesn't affect margin at all from anywhere. Okay. So yep, nice question, I like that. uh, cool. So any questions you have like that, this like what is margin, padding stuff and everything like that, you just have to open the developer tools, go to box model, and you'll be able to answer all the questions. Don't even have to google around it, don't have to ask the chat gpt as well. Just open the developer console, sorry, developer tools, and then you can slide down to the box model, hover over the boxes, and you'll be able to understand that okay, what this property is and how we can implement that in our web design. Okay, I hope I answered your question. This was the question, right? This was the question. I hope it was clear, and now I'll move to next one. Okay, awesome. uh Let me go to the next one, which is the background. Okay, so we have already used the background property here. We have used a background color. Okay, so apart from this background color, we also have different background properties. If I write background here, so you can see there is background color, there is background image, there is background position, there is background repeat, background size, clip, visibility. There are a whole lot of different properties which are there in background. I won't be able to cover all of them, but I have covered one important, and I'll be covering the second important thing, which is background image. Okay, so this is the way we can add image in here also. How we can add, I'll show you. So let's say, let me clear all this for now. Let me clear this as well. Okay, and let's say I have a division, and I have h1 there, like uh, welcome to code with coffee. Let's say this is the heading, and now I want I'll give this name of the class for this particular division as container. Okay, so right now we have a container, and let me give a size to that. Let me reduce this. Okay, now for this container, let me give some height and width for this container. Let me give height as let's say width as, okay, I have to give the class name first, I'm sorry, container, and then I just have to give the class. I've given the class name, I have to put some properties. Let's say width is equal to 200 pixel and height equals to 200 pixel. Simple, right? You can't see it right now, so we have to add border. Let's say border is 1 pixel solid, and purple. You can see the border now, right? Now if you want to add an image behind the text that you have, you can use something called background image. Okay, so you must have heard about background color, right? If I add background color as pink, let's say, so you can see I have added a color to the background of the container. But now if you want to put an image instead of the color that you have here, you can do that as well. How you can do that? Just go to background now, or you can say background image, and you have to use URL parenthesis, and then you have to give path for that particular image that you have on your system. So I'll use assets, and then uh, in assets I have one image. Now if I save, you can see there is an image behind of this, but I am not able to see that image properly. If you want to see that image and if you want to put that as cover, you can do that. What you have to do is background size as cover. If you put this like this, and you can see the entire image is now in in fit with the background. Okay, I hope you are everyone is able to understand what I'm saying, right? If you want to put something like some image or something behind and text or something, this is the way you can do it. What you are doing, you just have to put a background image and then you have to put size as cover. Okay, now what if I increase this to 1000 and 1000, and if I remove the cover, and if you see now it is visible like this, but it is repeating right now, right? I have what I did was I have increased the width and height of the division, and now it is more than that of the image size itself. So what the CSS do is it will repeat the CSS elements. So the CSS images because the size is more. So if you want to stop this repetition, you can see it is repeating everywhere. So there is a property called background background repeat, and just add no repeat. If you do this, you can see there is no repeating of the background image that you have, but the space is empty because the image is small. So what we'll do, as I told, if you want to cover all the space, just add background size as cover. If you add background size as cover, it will use entire space and you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, so whenever you add your image, make sure you use these three properties: URL, no repeat, cover. This will help you to put your image properly behind the text that you have. Okay, I hope everything is clear now, and let's move to the next thing. We have used background, and now colors we have already used. So if you want to use, I'll come back to this. So there are two different properties. I'll tell you what I'll make this as 100 again, so that 100 is too small. Let's say 400 200. Okay, cool. So if you see now, so I taught you one property, which is the color. So there are two different properties. Let me add here. What I'm doing, I'm selecting the element with the help of the tag. Okay, when you select with the help of tag, you just have to put h1 because I just want that h1 tag to be there. Now there are two different properties of color. One is color and second is background color. Right now I'll show you how these two different properties work. When you add color here, it will color the font. Just it will, what it will do, it will just color the font. If you I have added violet, blue violet here. Okay, it is just used to color your font. Now if you want to color the, if you want a background behind the font that you have, what you can do is, you just have to add background color, and you just have to give the color that you want, let's say aqua. So now it, what it will do, it will put color as the background. Okay, which is what type of background? It will be a background of the element that you have selected. Okay, so your whatever space that you have inside the border in that particular element will be covered by the background color. Now what if I add padding to this? Whenever I add padding, let's say 20 pixels. If I add padding, padding will be the part of the background color. So everything inside the border, just remember, try to remember the box model. So what is padding? Padding is everything inside the border, right? So the spacing between border and content is padding. So whatever background color that you give will be the part of, you know, padding. Whatever padding you give will be the part of the background color that you have. Okay, don't get confused with things. Just remember box model and everything will be fine for you. All right, any other questions? No. Okay, fine, great. Now let me discuss about colors. Okay, let me discuss about, like, what if you don't want to give padding to all the sides? What I mean is, what if I want to give the padding just to, just from the upper side of the border? If let's say that is, this is the border, just want to give padding from top, can I do that? Yes, we can do that. So if I just want to give padding to the top portion, what I have to do, just write padding, then just write, hyphen, then you can see the different properties that you have. You can use padding left, padding top, or padding bottom, right, and there are a whole lot of different things that you can use. Let's say I want to use padding top. If I add padding top as 30 pixels, I will be able to give padding to just top side. Okay, now second way is, if you want to give padding to two different, if you want to give padding to the directions. Okay, so if I want to give padding in, let's say, y direction or x direction, can we do that? Okay, yes, we can do that. So if I want to give padding just to, the upper two side and side to side, we can do that by writing 20 pixel and 30 pixel. Okay, so what is happening right now, I have added 30 pixel of padding to top and bottom, and 20 pixel of padding to left and right. Okay, so this is the property that you'll be using most of the time in any CSS code, because this is very handy. It is symmetric in nature, and this one is, yeah, will be helpful for you in near future as well. Okay, and also there is a shortcut that you can use if you want to give different paddings to each and every side. What I mean is, if I want to give 10 pixel, I want to give 10 pixel on top, let's say padding desktop, I want to give 10 pixel, and if I copy this, and if I say uh, right, bottom, and let's say left, I want to give 10, 20, 30, 40. So if I remove, let's say, all the properties from here, let's discuss about this only. So what is happening right now, I have given 10, 20, 30, and 40 like this. So you have to write four line of codes for this, but there is a shortcut method from which you can write all these four things in just one line. How we can do that? Just write padding, then you can write 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 20 pixel, 30 pixel, and 40 pixel. That's it. If you are able to write in this way, and if you remove this, you can see it will work. So whenever you want to write four different type of padding, just remember you have to write top, right, bottom, left. Okay, this way you can write four different paddings in just one line of CSS. Okay, it will be difficult for you if you are reading this for the first time, but if you Google around and if you use this type of property a lot, it will be easy for you to understand. Okay. Okay, awesome. uh Next property is gradient. Okay. Okay, I'll talk about gradient now. Okay, so let me add. Okay, there is a way to add a gradient color to the background, and also we can add gradient to the text as well, but I won't be able to teach that right now. You can Google around. We can use something like background clip, which will be helpful for you to create a gradient font color in the text as well. Right now I'll teach about background gradient. Background, if you see, let me write linear gradient, that is gradient. Okay, I don't recall the how we can write the linear gradient CSS property. So what I will do, I'll just Google, right? Linear back. Okay, now I remember, my bad. What I have to do is I have to write background color. It's already there, and I have to use linear. Let me write only linear gradient in CSS. If you write gradient in CSS, it will open up the first site, which is W3 School, which is super useful. You can use it anywhere. Okay, so if you want to use gradients like this, what you have to do, you just have to use this property. Again, you don't have to remember anything while write coding. You don't know anything, just Google it. It is fine. It is not called cheating. Okay, it is not possible for you to mug up all the CSS styles and stuff. The more you practice, it will be handy for you and it will be there in your muscle memory. Okay, so practice only can save you. So you can Google around, and it's not something you can, it's not a crime to Google around. Okay, the more you Google, the more you learn, and the more you progress in your dev journey. Okay, so if you want to use CSS gradient, background gradient, all you have to do, you have to use background image, use linear gradient, and then the colors that you want. We can change colors from here. If suppose I want this color, and okay, let's say I want blue here, I can use blue here. And if I say I want pink here, I can use pink here. And let me make this as white. Okay, so this is how you can write. Yeah, it does look little good, right? It doesn't look that bad, but this is how you can add gradients to the background of any element that you have in entire HTML document. Okay, then there are font, formatting text, and then position. Okay, so after 5 to 10 minutes we'll start building our CSS project, that is our CSS portfolio website. Okay, awesome. So in order to do that, what we have to do, okay, what topic we have? We have fonts. Okay, so we can also add font style. Okay, we can add font style. So if you see, there are different type of font style. I have italic, normal, oblique, and set and stuff. So you can make this italic by using italic. You can make this bold with bold. You can make this normal with normal. Okay. Now there is something called font family, which is used to give a different type of fonts to this particular text that we have on the screen. So if I want to give, let's say, font family, you can see there are different suggestions by VS Code. If say let I click the first one and save it, you can see the font size changed. Let me give this some good color, right? Okay, you can see the different font family. Now I can use, let's say, let me give it this one. You can see different type of fonts. So these are the font families in order to make your website look much better. If you so font type is a part of UI UX that the people who design the website, they have to think a lot about what type of font they want. Every business has their own unique type of font family that they have to use in entire business. So if when you write an email, when you make posters and everything, everywhere you have to use the same type of font family. Okay, the font family is very crucial to designing. It has some meaning also. It has some brand attraction also. There is a whole lot of marketing involved in this particular thing. But even if you have a basic knowledge of what type of font your family that you want to use and stuff, then you can use it. If you don't want to use which is there inside that we already have in CSS style, you can import font families. That is, if you go to Google Fonts, okay, you can see there are bunch of font families that you can import in your CSS, and if you want to use it, you can use it uh, any in any way. Okay, if suppose I want to use uh, this. Okay, so if I like this, that is Chantel Sense. Okay, if I want to use this particular font with this, what I have to do is I have to copy this. You can see there is a link that you have. You just copy this from here, put that in your head section, and then you just have to copy this particular CSS style, and then just you have to put it here. Haven't copied, I guess. Now I have to remove this font family and I'll put it here. Now if I go back to this, you can see I have used that. I have imported. If you see, let me show you my code. I have first imported that font family from Google Fonts, and then I have used that particular font family into my code. How? By using this font family type. Everything is available on Google. They will show you how you can implement. What you have to do, you just have to copy this link tags which shows that I am importing that particular style outside of something which is not in CSS, and then you have to use the CSS rule, that is font family. Just import them and you'll be able to use that. Okay, awesome. This was all about fonts and font family. Text formatting text with CSS that I already showed. Now there is an important, very important concept of position. Okay, this is very important and it is not easy to understand, but I'll still try my best to teach you guys how positions work in CSS. Okay, so I'll give container here. Okay, container. Okay, now I will give width of 200 pixel and height of 200 pixel. I give border of, let's say, 2 2 pixels solid. It will take black color by, like, it is naturally taking black color by default. If you want to add, you can add it. Now what I will do is I will use a child element with the name of, let's say, uh, p. Okay, I will give this p as 1. I will give I'll select that with the help of element selector. I will give some padding, let's say 10, 10 pixel. I will give border of, let's say, 2 pixel solid, and I'll give width equal to 20 pixel and height 20 pixel. Okay, so now if you see, if I inspect this, okay, okay, let me give this as div only. I'll give class to this particular thing, which is classes item, or let's say child. Okay, I have to select that as dot child. This is how we can use. So naturally the position of any element inside any parent will be the top left position, and if you want to change the position of that particular element, we use the css property called position. So there are different type of positions that we can use, and we can change it the way we want. Okay, the first is, let's say, you have to give position on container and also in the child, the way whatever the way you want. If I write, okay, I let me give some margin to the parent, let's say 20. Okay, awesome. Now if I give position of absolute to the child, if I save, okay, just a second, let me give padding to this. Hmm. All right, cool. So if I give, position of absolute to this particular thing, it won't be visible right now because we're not scrolling. So in order to do that, I have to use some styling. So what I will do is I will select the body tag, and I will use something called flex. This is the way we can center, or you can use grid as well. Grid, display grid. Just centering this. So if I use place content as center, it will should center. Okay, all right. If you have position of relative to this, and then it is absolute. Okay, fine. So how we can use these positions now? Okay, whenever you're using this type of positions, you have to remember that there are different type of position. That first is, if you write position here, so you can see that there is something called fixed, absolute, relative, static, and stk. So for now I'll be explaining three major type of positions right now, which we'll be using in our portfolio website as well. The first is fixed, relative, static. If I use fixed, what it will do, it will fix your position. Okay, how you can see that? If let's say I have you know let me add some bunch of random stuff. Okay, so whenever you have a bunch of stuff written like this, and where you have to scroll your web page, you can see whenever you're scrolling, the one is not changing. Okay, if I add some more bunch of gibberish here, okay, if I keep scrolling, one won't change the position because we have fixed the position of one. I hope you're understanding what I'm telling you. Fixed is it self-explanatory, right? You're fixing the position of that particular element. Okay, right? I hope things are clear to you, right? Awesome. All right. Now, if this is the way you can put this here, so that is something called position static. What is static? Static is something which is by default. Okay, status is a default position that you have whenever you write CSS. Okay, what is absolute? Okay, if I put this as absolute, and if I change the position, let's say I want to uh how can I say this, let me delete this gibberish now. And if I, if I'm giving absolute position, and okay, I have to center this because without that I won't be able to explain you. So you can also center with the help of flex. You have to use flex, align item center, and it should be working. And justify content center. Okay, so you can see now we have centered the division. Now whenever I use absolute position, and if I gives, let's say, left, so I want to move that a particular element some little far from left. Let's say let me put it 0. So whenever you use absolute position, and if you put 0 of anything left, right, top, bottom, it will consider the width, or you can height and width of the viewport that you have. So it will think that I don't have any parent. The only parent I have is the body. So it will consider root element as its parents whenever you add absolute position. Okay. And if the parent element is having the position of relative, then it will consider the parent of that particular element who is actually the parent of that element. Okay, it is confusing, it won't be easy for you to understand positions. But if you want to move a particular element with respect to a particular element, first of all you need to put relative position to that particular element, and then just give absolute to that, and it will work for you. If you remove this, it will consider the root element as the relative one. Okay, so these are the basic usage that you have for positions. We have less time to do, so now do we have anything? So there is something called z index that I want to be able to explain you right now, but it is an important topic. We may cover this tomorrow. But today, let's start building our project. We won't be using Z index right now, but it is an important topic. I will give the resources to for learning that particular property. It is not mandatory to use Z index, but it is good to know, and it has some particular use cases that you have. But for now, we don't need to go dive deep. We don't need to dive deeper into what Z index is, because without that also we can create a beautiful portfolio website for us. Okay, all right. Day one video, I guess we don't have day one video because of some glitch. We have done that particular thing on, let me write it here. Day one video is not available. You can you can see day day one and okay, I'll share the link of day one. Wait, I have, I guess, let me stop sharing. First x3, I have the day one video. uh Let me get you the link. Day one video link. Okay, you can find the day one link here. Let me share the screen again for you guys and let's move forward. Okay, awesome. So till now we have discussed a lot of things and now it's time for us to create something. Okay, all right, so let me create a different folder over here. Let me name it portfolio. Okay, in this portfolio website we will be having a file name of index.html. And okay, I'll be writing styles inside of the HTML document so that it is easy for us to understand. But I will recommend you to, use I will recommend you to use file CSS file which you have to link with the HTML document, because that is most preferred way of using it. Uh, Now what I'll do is I'll go here. So this will be the screens. Okay. Now in this index.html, I will open this. Okay. I will name the title is my portfolio and I'll start writing it. Okay. So before we jump into how we can create that, I will give you a rough design of how we can use that. Okay. So there is a beautiful tool that I use every time if I want to design anything. Okay, so I will show you what type of design that we are having, that we'll be using today in order to design our portfolio website. So what we'll be having is, okay, I don't want this, I'll go for this. Okay, I don't want the borders, but any which ways, let it be. If I use this, is there any way to reduce the border? Okay, no, this is there, but okay, let it be. So in order to show you guys how our portfolio website will be looking, I'll tell you that first of all will be having navigation bar here. Okay, the way all websites have, we'll also have a navigation bar. Then we'll be having about section. Okay, a small about section. Then we'll be having a skill section. There will be showing them a different type of skills that a person is having on. And then if you see the second page, on second page we'll be having project section, and final is contact form. Okay, so this is super simple thing, right? I'll be teaching you how to create a portfolio website using this. So this is what? Navigation bar. Okay. This is what? About section. This is what? Uh okay, section, about section. Then we'll be having skill section, the skills you have, and you will be having What are the skills? Project section, then there will be contact form. Okay, so this is how your portfolio website will be looking, and let's start developing it now. Okay, all right. So let me start from. So whenever we create a portfolio website, as we discussed, we'll be using semantic HTML in order to style this. So let me let's go live first so that it can open uh, that we can open that here. Okay, yeah, it is open here. Now what you need to do is, let's start with navigation bar. Navigation bar. Okay, if you want to create a navigation bar, we'll use semantic HTML. We'll put navigation. And now next up, what we'll be using is flexbox. Okay, what is flexbox now? So flexbox is a property that we use in CSS in order to place items according to whatever our need is. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, so if you want a navigation bar, for navigation bar, let me give a class name here, navigation. And now I have to place elements into this, because if you know how a navigation bar looks, we have, if you remove this, let's say, if I remove this, so we have a navigation bar, we have small containers like this, right? Where we show them that, okay, that's about section, right? And there is contact, and then there is skill section and stuff, right? This is how the navigation bar looks. We'll be creating something similar to that. So for us, the parent element is this, the navigation element, and then we'll have some child element in order to make this better. Okay, all right. So navigation, next is we have to add some child element, right? So what we'll do is, I'll give a division dot child hyphen nav. Okay, let's have how many elements we have. If you see the design, 1 2 3 4, so we'll have four different things here. 1 2 3 4. Okay, there is about. Okay, about. Then there is skill. Then there is projects. Then there is contact form. We'll just add contact. So if you see right now, it is not looking that good. Let's add some CSS and you see the magic. So if you see here in the design, I want that in particular thin strip of that, and I don't want that to be in column direction. I want that in row direction. So I want them into horizontal direction. Okay, so in that case, we are using flexbox layout property. What is flexbox layout property? It helps us to place the child element the way we want. Okay, how can we use flexbox here? Let's use style here, and then you just have to use dot navigation, and then what you have to do is you have to give that, okay, you have to tell CSS that, okay, I want flexbox layout property in this particular division. So I'll give division display as flex. If you do this, you can see that all the properties right now are in different position. Okay, so this is the Chrome extension that I have. The name of this Chrome extension is pesticides, which is super helpful if you want to debug CSS. It will add borders to all your CSS elements so that you can see that. So now if you see that all the elements are in horizontal direction, what if you want to make them in the row direction? So in CSS flexbox, if you put flex direction as column, then it will move your elements in column direction. And remove, if you put this as row, and it will put them in row direction, right? If you see this. Now the question is, you want all of these styles to be on right side, not on left side. So in order to do that, there is a property called justify content. And if you put that as right, or you can put that as end, it will move all the properties to the right hand side. Okay, let me give some border to this. Okay, so let me give border of let's say 1 pixel solid. Okay, this is not looking that good, but okay. So if you see that naturally CSS, sorry, naturally in HTML document, there is some already added margin and padding that we have to remove every time you use the CSS document and the HTML document. Okay, what I mean is you have to remove, if you want to remove this unwanted, if you if I open this, if I go to body, you can see body has already some sort of margin applied to that. For us to remove that, you just have to do star. What does star mean? Star means you're selecting a root, and then you have to remove margin 0 and padding 0. So now it will remove it from the root element. Okay, now we have this navigation bar. So if you see this, the font size is big. I will use CSS class child. I'll copy this. I'll copy this class. I put this here. And now if you see, what should we do? I need to change the font size, right? Let me put the font size as 24 pixel. Okay, what happened? Didn't change. Okay, it's big. I guess let me put it as 18 pixel. Cool. This is also big. Let me put it as 16. And let me change font family. What are font family? I've already discussed. Not font weight, it's font family. Let me give this only. Doesn't look good. Family of Arial is far better. We can use Arial. Now let's give some margin to this. Okay, let's give some, let's say from top we want just 2 pixel of margin, and from right and left let's have some 10 pixel of margin. Now you can see we are done with our navigation bar. Okay, you guys are here. I want to see that. Is the chat live? Hi. Awesome. So now, as you can see, we have a navigation bar which is looking good. And if you compare it with our design, it is something similar to that, right? All right. Now, let's move ahead. So we are done with our about section, our navigation section now. Let's reduce the font size to 12. It's looking too big for us. Don't know it is. Okay. This was the reason, because I was having. Let me make it uh, 30 pixel. I guess now it is looking good. Let's add some padding here uh, in navigation. Padding of, let's say, 20 pixels from top and bottom, and let's say 5 pixel from side. Now it looks much better, right? Yeah, it doesn't look that good, but yeah, it's not that bad as well. This is our first CSS component we have, where we have used flexbox styling and rest of the thing, right? Now let's start with about section. About section. As you can see, it is about section. So I'll give this as section. Let me add the container. Class is about hyphen section. Okay. Now in this about section, what we'll be doing is we will be, if you delete this, okay, let me delete this. We'll be having two boxes here. One will be the image and one it will be the introduction. Okay. So let's create that. All right. So for us to create two sections, let us put this to div where we will be using class as about image, and at the same time let us put a div. And if you want to use, if you want to add classes and you don't want to write class afterwards, what you can do is just write div and then write dot, then you can write about description. If you do this and if you press tab, it will write a class for you. This is a this is yeah, this is a trick that I told you. Okay. Now what we should do now, here we'll be adding an image. So let's enter an image style. We'll be telling the source, so I'll be using the assets that we have. We have only one asset and that we'll be using. And then we have some description, and description I'll be adding h2 tag, which will be your name, that is Pritesh Kiri. And then I will add some description to that. I will give h4 as the description. So let me add let's say I am a front end developer from India. I like building web applications. Okay, this is a short description that I have, but this is not the way I want my about section to look like. I want something like this. So first of all, what we need to do is, we are having two childs here. We'll put them in a horizontal direction first, and then we'll be using that the way we want to. Okay. All right. So if you want to, for that also, if you see this, we'll be using flexbox to move this from this, and then we'll be adding some styling to that. Okay. This won't be easy for you, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay. Now if you go, first of all, what we need to do, we need to add flexbox to this. The section spelling is wrong. Let me change that. Now let's select the about section. Okay, my bad. Let's change the about. Let's select the about section first. About section. Let us give display of flex, and also I want them to be, so whenever you use justify content, it is used to place your element in horizontal direction if your rows are aligned in if your elements are aligned in the horizontal direction, that is in row direction. Okay, so I'll be using this property called justify space between. Okay, now what next? What I can do is I will be selecting. Okay, if you see here, now they are in horizontal direction. Okay, I can see the width of image is too big, I don't want that. So what I will do is as I told you, we can add width and height here as well. I will add 200 pixel as the width. This is too small, let me make it 500. 500 is too big. Let me make it 350. This looks nice. Okay, let me make this circular so that it will look little good. So can we do that? Yes, we can do that. All we need to do is just add a class. And class, or if you don't want to add class, what you can do is you can access this particular image tag from the parent tag. What I mean is, if you use dot image about image, and then if you write element name, I will be able to access the element inside the particular class. If you don't believe me, let me give a border radius of 50%. If you see what I did, I just made that circular by using border radius. I'll just curved it around. Okay. All right. Awesome. Now, if I want to push this particular circle in the center, what I have to do is I have to make the about image section as flex. If you see right now, these are the two different divisions which are having different width, but I want to give them equal width. So that is about section and that is about description section, right? And I want to give similar kind of properties to them. If you want to give similar type of properties to two different classes, you just have to put comma and then you can add them. What I want is uh, display display of flex, justify content center. And what is align content? Align content is, you have to, if you want to position the elements from in vertical direction, if you have things in row, then you can use align items center, so that it will look little bit like this. Okay, let's give width of 50% to both of them, of 50%. Okay, now they're looking little good. Let me give adding of top, let's say 50 pixel. Okay, okay, it's looking good now, but this is not looking good. Let me change this now. This is what about description. I have to select that first. Okay, about description. Then you have to write what again, you want them into column direction, so I have to give a flex, display of flex. Then you want direction to be in column, direction column. And then you have to, if you want to, okay, this is it, I guess. Yeah, but you want to align them uh in a different way, so you can add align items as start, and they might look, yeah, this looks good. Now let me give a font size to h2. What font size we use here? Let's say, let me give it 50 pixel font size, 50 pixel. and the 50 still looks small. Let me give it 60 pixel. And for h4, let me give as 24. The font size as 24 pixel. That this looks not doesn't look that bad, but yeah, we are not adding any colors and stuff right now, but we can add them later on. For now we are not adding, but still if you want we can add blue color, sorry, color of, let's say, something of blue, some sort of blue. Right now if I select this, let's give this color. And for this, let me add color of this. Doesn't look good. Let me give something like, with blue, pink would be a better choice, I guess. Yes, this looks little better, right? Yeah, this looks little better. Now let's move to the next section. Next is skill section. All right, so if you want to add skill section, what you need to do is, again, we have to create a section, skill section. Now we'll be putting a section here. Then if you see the skill section, I haven't made the skill section, but what I want is I want to put my 3 skills, and then I want to put you know how much proficiency I have in that particular skill. So what I will do is I will use two things right now. uh, I will use input. There is a type of input which is called progress that I will use here, and I will use an h3 tag for for showing the type of skill. Okay, let's say, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm having a division here, and then I'll put an h3 tag here with the name of html, and then I'll have an input of progress. There is something called progress. Let's say input type is uh, range, I guess. Range is the one, I guess. Yeah, range, where I can set a minimum, which be 0. You can set maximum, it will be let's say 100, and I have to tell out of this what is my proficiency. I have to add a value as, let's say, I'm very good at CSS. I have 90% proficiency. Can you see this? Now you have this bar, but it's not looking good. So what we'll do this, I won't be using this, but let me add just names of those things. Okay, so for now, let's just add names. Okay, right, let's write CSS here. Then we can write JavaScript. We can write React. We can write what tailwind. Tailwind. We can write next JS. Then we can write Node.js. Okay, these are the skills that I'm having. Okay, let me give a title here. Title, let me use h2 for that. But if I use h2, it will collide with this one. So let me give a class to this. That will be uh, about name. Okay, I will use this class for this particular thing. Okay, bad. Yeah, if you see this, now I can use h2 here to tell that this is the what skill. Okay, you can see it is looking so bad. Let's work on this and let's make it little good. So I have to use flex for the section. Let me give the section name, class, let's say skills. Okay, I hope you guys are here about that section. Yeah, thank you so much for being there. Let me add skills here. So for that I have to add dot skills, and then I have to write display flex. Then what I want first of all two parent element to be on column wise. So I'll add flex direction column, and what is position? I want everything to be centered. So if you want everything to be centered in every scenario, you just close your eyes and you have to put two things: align item center, and justify content center. If you do this, you see everything will be centered. But you don't want the small HTML, CSS, JavaScript to be in the similar direction. All right. So what you can do is you can add this as, let's say, skill items. Okay, now you have to place your skill item in such a way that they should not go away. Okay, for that you have to have a container of C skill. Okay, fine, everything is fine. So if you see now, dot skill items, right? What I used was skill items, right? Skill items, yes. So if you see, we have skill items here. I have to give them display flex here again. Then we can add flex direction as row. Here we will be adding a new property called flex wrap. What it will do is, if your elements are more than that of the entire width of the port view, it will wrap that down. I'll show you how this works. Flex wrap as wrap, and then you can do what you can do is, uh, yeah, you can add justify content center, or you can say space around is the good thing if you have an align item as center. Okay, now you can see they are there, but it still not looking that good. So what I'll do is, let me put the title size as that of, uh, let's put title size as, if you want to choose a title from skill section, you have to mention skills h2, then you can say that font size of 60 pixel. In child, what you have to do is dot skill items h3, then you have to write font size of, let's say, 20 pixel, and then margin, you want 2 pixel from, okay, let's give something 20, give 20 pixel from top and bottom, and let's say 60 pixel from horizontal. Okay, now it's looking little nice, but still not that good. So let's give this as 200 pixel. Okay, so I don't have even number of things. So what I'll do is, let me put it as 160, 150. It is still looking like this. So let me remove one of the thing, so it might look nice, but it's still looking like we are not good with things. Let me give some padding to skills. Top padding, uh, padding top as, let's say, 100 pixel. Yeah, it's looking much better now. If you see this, skills is there. All right. All right, guys. So this is cool. Even let me give some padding to scale items as well. Say it is 70 pixel that we can see it. 70 pixel. Let's add 70 pixel on both the sides. 10 pixel. All right. Okay, I have to remove padding top and it will work. All right, guys, we are done with the second section. Now we have two sections left, project and contact form. I hope you guys are able to understand what I'm telling. If we add h26 or more than h1 tag, yeah. For now we are not considering the things that are there. I'm just telling you how we are styling stuff. So the sizes and everything is not doesn't matter right now, but when you are creating your original portfolio website, then you should keep h1 as the head, like basic the the as I told, what do you mean by main heading? You have to put that at h1 and it should be visible, well visible, and the font size and everything should be big for h1 because html should make sense, right? So for now, we are not considering stuff like that because we have to. I just want to show you how we can use and how we can implement stuff. Later on, we can go into details and stuff, right? Let's go to project. So for project, I'll be. Let's go to project section. Project section. So let me create a section. Projects. Okay. So we will be having two projects, let's say. So let me create one division and let me name it as project card. I'll be creating a project card. Then in that card, I'll be having, what can I add in the project card? Okay, yeah. I can add an image, but I don't have image for now. So what I'll do is I'll take a random image from the internet. Let's take some uh let's say I want Netflix. Let me just write Netflix here and I'll get some images. Let me, okay, this looks nice. What I'll do, I'll copy the image address and then I'll put it here. Yeah, okay, so I'll be creating, what should I do? Okay, let me create an image here. Just put that here. Okay, it is not a good image to be taken. If I open this and if I copy the link address, and if I do this now, okay, it's taking the data, not the image. Okay. Copy the image address. Okay, open the image in new tab. Now if I copy this and if I paste it here, I won't be able to see, or will I be able to see? No, right? Okay, I've mistaken something, I guess. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me find something on Pixels. Yeah, so Pixels is a really good website to find images. So I'll find something here. Projects. Let's say projects. If you want to find some good images, you can use this website. For now, I just want some any image related to anything that I can use it, and it will be helpful for us. So It's loading, it's taking some time. uh, for now, let me just put some random stuff rather than an image. So I won't be using this. Let me just create a div with project image. We'll be putting the image later on whenever we think like we have an image. Then we have some description. uh, so I'll give it div of project uh, description, and then in description let's have some p tag. We'll tell that Netflix clone. Okay, let's say this is my project name, and then you can add two links here. One will be to the GitHub repo. Let's say second is live project link. Live. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. It's look super ugly right now, but let's create this now. Let's add first of all here h2 heading. That what heading you have? You have projects, right? Projects. Now you can go into this. You can add projects, and you can add display flex. Uh, then you can use flex direction. Should be column, right? If you see here, flex direction column. Right, flex direction as column. And let's add a fixed height and width to this particular card. uh, so we can make it as, what should we add? Okay, it will be fixed height and width will be for will be for the project cards and not for the project section. If you see h2, let me give it some font size as 60 pixel. Yeah. Now if we add what? Yes, project cards, right? Project cards, go and here. Now you have to give fixed width and height. I'll give fixed width and height of 300. Let's say 350 or 350 pixel, right? And height of 350 pixel, 350 pixel, and then we can have a display of flex, and then like flex direction, let's say column. Okay, so and also let's give border here so that we can understand where our things lies. Border 2 pixels solid black, let's say. Now if you see, if I refresh this, I'm not seeing anything. Let's see. Okay, that is, it's not cards, it's just a card. Now okay, I can see something here, right? Okay, nice. If I let me align this, I'm center, and justify content center. Okay, now what I need to do is, let me add some border radius. Let's say 10 pixel. Okay, now what should we do? Let me add what is next? Project card image, right? So here what can I do is, I have to write project image, project hyphen image. Just have to put a dot here, and then what can I do? I can give the width of 100% because I want everything to be covered here, and height of, let's say, uh, let's give 60% of height. 60% of what? Whenever you write percent, it will take 60% of parent class. Parent has 350. 60% of the parent will be taken by the image. Okay. I write border to pixel and let's say groove. Okay, it's not looking bad at all. Let me give border radius here as well. Let's give the similar type of border radius. Okay, the project card is not looking bad at all. It is looking little nice. Not that good, not that bad. But let's see what can we do now. Now we have what? Project description. Okay, so we have to fix this now. Let me add this here. Project description. Okay, so let's say here also we want them to be in we have to give display flex, and then we can do flex direction as column. Okay, and then what should be the next thing? Let's give flex direction column, and then let's align them. Let me give them as justify, sorry, not justify self, justify content as space around, and then I have to, let's see how they look like. Okay, they are not looking that bad, but let me see what are the radius and stuff for this. So if you see this, okay, they are in this line, but I let me give something called height to this, so they can have some space to float. Okay, not looking that bad, right? All right, cool. Let me give span here, and tag. Let me give it title here. Okay, now I'll use this and tag. Let me give font weight as 900. So okay, it's not looking that bad. And let me give some font size to this description. P tag font size of. Okay, let me give font size to this entire. If I give font size to this size, let's say 18 pixel. Not looking that bad. This is good to go. Let's give some padding out now. Padding left. Let's give 20 pixel of padding left. Okay, it's not looking that bad, right? Cool. Let me give a p tag here saying that it is an image. Okay, let me tell them that. Okay, project image. Okay. So project image. What is project image? Yes, project card, project image, project image. What we can do? Don't need this. Uh, Here also, let's say flex. Sorry, display flex, align item center, and justify content center. Okay, awesome. So let me create a copy of this project card like this. Okay, from let's see. Okay, now I let me create a Amazon clone and let's say GitHub clone. Now I have three projects, but I want them to be, let's keep it two only. Let's keep two projects for now, and I want them to be horizontally aligned. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to keep this in a container. Let's say card container, so that I can give uh, width. I can give, flex to this flex to this particular container, display flex, and let's say justify content center. Now if you see this, okay, justify not center, let's make it space evenly. Okay, they're not moving. The reason might be the width, let's give 100%. Awesome, right? I just need some padding from top. Let's give 100 pixel. Now we are good to go. Okay, so we have a about section, we have our navigation bar, we have project section, and let's see how many people are there. Okay, is there any difference between place item and align item? Nice question. Place items are used generally in grid, not in this. And wait, let me give you an example over here. uh okay, where can I give you? Yeah, in skills, right? If I remove this, let's say, so skill went there, and if I use place content or place item, okay, I guess place items is used for the flex item property. If I place content center, it should work as well, I guess. I'm not sure, to be honest. Place items, yeah, the place items is kind of let's see, even I'm not so sure about this question, so I'll Google around. Place items in flex. So let's see what it does. What is written? Very short. Allow you to align item block in line. Just okay. Okay, if you want to manage justify content center and align item center at the same time, then you can use a place item. If you use place item center, you don't have to use the justify content center and stuff. So you can, it is a shorthand property for this. Okay, cool. And now what next? uh I hope I answered the question. If you still have doubts, you can Google around. So we don't have much of the time right now, so we won't be able to create uh, the form section now, contact form. So let me create small footer section which will be useful for us. Let me create a footer now. Create footer section, project section. For footer, what we want is footer, right? So we'll give it as a footer. We just want a line. Let's say we can write it here, made with made with love by British Kitty. Okay, Okay, but I want this as centered. So I can just directly select footer from here and just have to do justify content center. Let me give some padding here. Uh, Padding should be what, 40 pixel and 20 pixel. And I'll give a border top of, let's say, uh, 2 pixel solid. Okay. Okay, I have to give some margin as well, I guess. It seems margin top. How much margin should I give? Let's say 50 pixel. Awesome. It's not aligned center, so I guess I have to use footer p align text align, footer space p text align center should be there. Okay. So this is our simple portfolio website. It doesn't look that good, but for basic, it looks fine enough, right? Here you can add your GitHub link, live this link, and yeah, doesn't look that bad either, right? I'll share the code of this particular project on GitHub, and we'll share it along with my resources so that you can access and you can play around and you can create your own portfolio website. All right, awesome. That's all for today's session. And thank you so much for joining the session. And now we'll be ending the session and see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be learning the basics of JavaScript, and then day after we'll be creating a food ordering application with the help of JavaScript. Okay, so there are 2 days left, and thank you so much for joining. Hope you very good night. All right, bye guys. Let me end the broadcast.